Hello, Marveralls is back, and this time she is beige.
Marveralls in beige.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you are following me on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, first of all, thanks. I don't know how I got here. Second of all, you may have seen me post a video about the Dink fam, insert picture of Dink fam here, and how they gave me quite the scare about a week ago. I thought that they had contracted a deadly virus called Panleukopenia, and I didn't give too much information on that except for the fact that they didn't have it and everyone was just fine. He never looks like he's just fine. But really, there's quite the story behind it. So today, I'm gonna tell you the whole story, give you a little update on school, because I really haven't told you much about it. And then, yeah, we'll just get right back into the nonsense. Okay, I also have a kitten cam going in the back, so hopefully we catch some really good fun things. Anyway, so this is gonna get complicated, and you're gonna wanna take some notes, and I'm gonna include some pictures, so that way we can kind of follow along as necessary, because there's many characters and many different storylines. Okay, let the class begin. I'm sorry, I scared him. He says, don't yell. I'm just here to learn. I don't understand. What's going on? What's going on? So last Friday night, yeah, we danced on tabletops. Sorry, hun. There were multiple things that were happening this past week, okay? One, we had 6 kittens that were making their way north to get adopted. They had been pre-adopted. They had to go to the vet last Friday to get their health certificates and make sure they were up to date on all their vaccines before they were able to travel north. Now, you don't need to know the name of all 6 of these babies, but what you do need to know is the name of one baby in particular. Her name is Aurora, okay? Keep Aurora in your brain. We also had another kitten there that day in the rescue whose name is Nutella. This is Nutella. What a cute baby. She was there for no other reason except that she was getting her kitten booster vaccines, and her foster is a vet tech, so she comes to work with her and she's vaccinated and a healthy little girl. So that Friday, Aurora receives a rabies and a booster vaccine, and Nutella receives a booster vaccine. Everything's fine. The next day we have our awesome spay-neuter surgery day. You guys saw that. It was an amazing time. Our vets were able to TNR 19 cats for us, and 2 kittens we were able to take into the rescue. So then Sunday happens. If you recall, the Dinks were very sick when they came to us. They got a bunch of different medications, okay? They got dewormed, they got antibiotics, they got treated for coccidia, they got flea treatments, they got tapeworm meds. I mean, they got just about everything over the course of a week and a half. So that's their medical background, okay? So moving on to Sunday. So in our rescue, it is a requirement that every single kitten and cat that comes into our care does a 2-week strict quarantine. And I mean, they are fully isolated from any other cats. They have no contact with any other cats, and the foster is instructed to change feet, you can't change your feet, change socks, change clothes, wash your hands after coming out of hanging out with the kittens in their space. We're very strict about that. It's a big deal. So the Dinks at this point on this Sunday were in this bathroom quarantining, but their quarantine was up. Now the reason that we do 2 weeks of quarantine is there's a few viruses, but one in particular is called Panleukopenia, and Panleukopenia has what's called a 2-week incubation time, meaning they could be exposed to the virus on day 0 and not show any symptoms until exactly day 14. That's like the most. Generally, they kind of show up in the middle, but the most time it could possibly take for the virus to show up is 14 days, which is why up until 14 days, it is a no contact zone. No one gets to be friends with them, nothing. If they're a solo kitten, that is super unfortunate. They have to spend 2 weeks alone. It just is what it is, okay? Number 1 rule here is nobody dies, okay? So they were in this bathroom. Their 2 weeks were up on Friday. So on Sunday, they were in theory clear of quarantine. So I go into the bathroom on Sunday morning. They're old enough to get their vaccines. I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and give these guys their vaccinations. This is Dink herself. Look at her. Look at her. Focus. I swear. Wow. What a gal. So on Sunday morning, I gave them their vaccinations. 2 of the kittens, Rabwitch and Aries, were kind of like iffy on eating to begin with. They were kind of the ones that were still relying on mom, even though mom wasn't producing any milk, and they just could not figure out how to eat. So when I went in on Sunday morning, gave them their vaccines and fed them, it wasn't odd to me that they were basically disinterested in food. I force fed both of them, meaning I just gave them some baby food in a syringe. called it good, and I left, and I came back a couple hours later for lunch. And when I came back a couple hours later for lunch, I noticed that Mom had thrown up. And at this point, Mom was also acting a little bit like not good, okay? I wouldn't say she was like super lethargic, but she definitely was not feeling 10 out of 10 spectacular. But the throw up was very alarming because one of the symptoms of panleukopenia is vomit, okay? And diarrhea, and high fever, and dehydration. I mean, there's just so many things that can happen. So I went in there and I was sitting in there with the kittens, and little Rabwitch, our little dainty girl who couldn't figure out how to eat, I watched her vomit. So I was concerned at that point. Now, in my mind, I thought, it's past 2 weeks quarantine. There's no way this could be panleukopenia. It might be something like giardia, or maybe coccidia, because they did have that. Or maybe it was something else going on that we needed to do some further testing. But me, being myself and the scientist that I am, I had some panleukopenia tests on hand. So I went downstairs and I grabbed them. Now, I will say, they aren't actually panleukopenia tests. This is kind of an aside for anyone who actually fosters and rescues and understands this. Panleukopenia is a parvovirus. Parvo is a disease known in dogs that is caused by the parvovirus. Basically, there was the parvovirus in dogs, it mutated, and a specific strain now infects cats. But the dog strain cannot infect cats and the cat strain cannot infect dogs. Capiche? Like, there's no crosstalk now. The mutation happened a long time ago and now we're here. But because they're so similar in terms of their DNA coding, you can actually detect panleukopenia with the parvovirus test that you can purchase online or that vets purchase or vets have on hand. So I went and grabbed my parvovirus test downstairs, brought it up, and thought, no big deal, no problem. So I tested one of the kittens' poops and I was like, I think that is a light positive. So at this point, I was panicking a little bit and thought, no, there's no way. So I went back downstairs, I got another test. I also got a giardia test, which tests for something else entirely. And I came back upstairs and watched Mom give me a fresh sample. So I went on ahead and I tested her poop, and the second that the test line, this is like a pregnancy test, but it's like, surprise, you have a deadly virus, not like, surprise, you're pregnant. The second that that test line touched the test strip, immediately it showed up positive. And so, naturally, I panicked. I was in quite a tizzy at that moment because I thought, oh my gosh, how could they have gotten panleukopenia? They're past their quarantine date. Did I bring something in? Did I get them sick? Is this my fault? So I was obviously in a tizzy, okay? Now, I need you to remember, I need you to go back to your notes and remember that we had another kitten named Aurora who on the Friday before got vaccinated, okay? So I was panicking about everything up here. I decontaminated myself. I took a shower, I burned my clothes, no, just kidding, I washed my clothes, and I went downstairs to kind of like get myself together and figure out what I needed to do. I went downstairs and I watched little Aurora puke, and I thought, oh my god, my whole house has been exposed to panleukopenia. So I was not having a good time, okay? So I panicked again and didn't really know, like, I say panicked, I was very cool, calm, and collected, but internally I was screaming. Okay, so I went through, I got my vaccines and I went on ahead and gave everyone in the house a booster vaccine just to like, if we had been exposed to panleukopenia, I went on ahead and boosted everyone. So that way, just in case they maybe had like a head start on the virus. So I was going through all of this and like panicking and whatever, and there really wasn't much I could do. No one was bad enough that night that I felt that they needed to go to the ER vet. In fact, we sent a couple kittens to the ER vet from this group and the ER vet wouldn't admit them because they said they weren't sick enough. So I didn't bring anyone else to the ER vet, and the next morning I brought them to my vet and I was like, I'm sorry. So that was that, okay? And then I went to school because I'm a vet student, I'm in school. But I also need you to remember this other kitty, Nutella. So while I was at the vet tech who's fostering Nutella says, that's weird, Nutella also vomited. And I was like, uh-oh, what else is going on? Because in my mind, I thought, okay, Aurora and Nutella were at the vet the same day. Maybe that they got exposed then. And then maybe I also got exposed and then I came home and brought it home to these guys and then they got it. And so it's all my fault and everyone's gonna die. So that was going through my head. So as I'm at school taking my midterm, because yes, I had a midterm that day, because why not, you know? I'm getting texts and calls from my vet and vet tech and they're like, I don't think this is panleukopenia, we ran blood work, Mama. They ran multiple tests and they were like, we don't think this is Panleuk. And I thought, great. But just to make sure, we sent off an additional test that not only tests for Panleukopenia, but tests for a bunch of other things, just to ensure that we in fact did have a false positive to begin with and we weren't actually working with a positive. Now, I'm telling you, this story is really complicated and I'm sorry if you've made it this far and you're like, I can't anymore, Mary, I have to jump ship. Just let me let you know, everyone's fine, everyone survived. It's just the ending is like, what happened? So do you also remember that I told you from our TNR Spay Day that we had 2 additional kittens that we pulled? These 2, they're wonderful, sweet babies. They also got vaccinated that day at the vet. So if we look at our little timeline, on Friday we had Aurora and Nutella get vaccinated, and then on Sunday they both puked. On Saturday we had these 2 get vaccinated, and then on Monday I found that they had puked as well. So again, I'm thinking, uh-oh, I exposed everyone to Panleukopenia. Even though all the tests are saying negative, I still obviously did something. So as the days went on, we were waiting for the test to come back. Mom and baby started to get better. We started them on antibiotics. They started to improve slowly. Aurora stopped puking. We got her feeling better. She went up to her forever home. And the 2 little kittens that we pulled, they only puked one time and then they were fine. They're living their best life. We got the test back and it was actually negative for Panleukopenia, but positive for a bacterial gut infection that can actually kind of mimic some of the symptoms of Panleukopenia. Like not all of them, but they have diarrhea and they can vomit and they can feel really bad, so it can cause those things, but it won't cause like really high fever or attacking of their blood cells. So like that's what we were dealing with. So everyone was fine, but I just had a Panleukopanic and it was just not a great time. Now you're probably thinking, all right, Mary, Aurora worked out, the 2 kittens worked out, the dinks worked out. What about Nutella? What about this baby? So this baby continued to puke, and so we brought her back into the vet and we did some x-rays, and what we found is she actually has a condition called megacolon, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It means her colon is mega. It means it's very big, and usually that means that they get very constipated and they can't poop themselves. There's a lot of things you can do for it. One of the things you can do later in life if it doesn't fix itself. Wait, we'll take a step back. The colon is like a really big rubber band, right? The colon's like a hair tie. When it becomes megacolon, it stretches. And so the amount of stuff inside the colon is too big to go outside of the exit hole. You know what I mean? And so the idea is to make the poop less solid. We want to make it soft serve, a little squishy, so that the colon can slowly and surely bring itself back to a normal sized colon, okay? That's one way to do it. Another way to fix megacolon is to actually remove the colon itself. We were hoping we could just kind of let the colon go from large to small again by changing up the diet for Nutella. And so we gave her a dietary change and she seems to be doing well with that. So basically, to summarize everything, the dinks had a bacterial gut infection. We think Aurora and the 2 kittens from the vet who got vaccinated just had a vaccine reaction. And then Nutella, our little baby, she just had megacolon. It was no big deal. So all those things came together at the same time to create chaos in my world that I did not need or want. But anyway, that's the story time with me, and this went on a lot longer than I thought. Anyway, it's time for me to give you a formal update on vet school. For anyone who cares, it's okay if you don't. It's weird. It's not weird that you care. It's weird that I'm here. I don't know what my life is. 2 years ago, I didn't think I was in vet school. A year ago, I thought it was crazy to even apply and think I could get in the first try. And here I am, about to complete my first semester of vet school in like a month. Anyway, not the point. The point is, I really love vet school. It's very challenging in terms of time-wise. I am juggling a lot of things right now, like the rescue, you guys, my personal life, the business side of things, friendships, my mental and physical well-being. There's just a lot being balanced right now, but I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job. No major breakdowns yet. Obviously things have slowed down, which is why I hadn't posted a long-form YouTube video in forever. But yeah, I mean, I thought this video was gonna be 5 minutes, but here we are. I'm really happy to be in vet school. I'm happy to be kind of back consistently creating content because I really do enjoy it. It's like a nice, fun, creative outlet for me. And then I guess I'm back. Be prepared though, because Screamies are coming up soon. I don't know why I brought that up. That doesn't even matter. What matters is everyone here is healthy, everyone here is happy, and everyone here is having a good old time. Okay, I think that summarizes everything. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Mama. And we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.